Hey, everybody. It's Everyman with Everyman's 40K channel. So I'm here finally building this Great Unclean One. This is our Great Unclean One project. If you haven't seen the first video and this is your first time to the channel, go ahead and pop on into my library. I do have a project opener. That's how we kind of do things here. The project opener is where we discussed what we're actually going to do and how we're going to put this model together. In that particular video, I discussed already having these 3D printed. So here we are today, and we're going to start putting this together. And we're going to describe how to do it, some of the techniques we can use. Again, let me go through some of this. So in the first video, we talked about a Woooohooo, which is not, this is its own kind of model, right? From the Pestilence or Rescale Miniatures. So this is two pieces that we're going to put on the spine, as you can tell here, right? So pretty cool. We're going to be able to put that spine, and then we got some other larger spine pieces here. So this is going to be pretty cool once we get it built. We have the sword that does not belong to this particular model. It was part of another model from this company. And then here's the bell we talked about that my friend ended up sending me the STL file. I don't know where he got it. I didn't ask. Some arms, the head. So if you can check the detail, pretty cool. And these little tree kind of bone looking things correspond to this. So again, once we get this all together, I think it's going to look really good. So the first thing we got to do, let me put these together. It is located. Some artists or IP owners do this, like 3D sculptors. They'll pin them, but still, even after pinning, you cannot dimensionally guarantee that you're not going to get seam lines. So we can deal with this one of two ways. We can just slap on a whole bunch of glue, kind of glue it together, let the glue ooze out, and then go and mold or cut and scrape back to the resin surface, okay? Or we can deal with it a little bit up front, and I'm gonna deal with it a little bit up front. If you can get the camera in here, let me show you. You can see those little bumps right along here. Well, that actually matters, okay? Dimensionally, 3D resins are really accurate. They are spot on. Let me look in here, get that light to shine. And then you can see right around here, little bit of bumps, okay, right along that edge. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean this up first. Then from there, we'll move on to assembly. What I mean by clean, so you have a few choices. What I do is I'll go around the miniature once. So I'll take this and around the edge. And what I do is, just in case I got a little hanger on, or these are little support dimples. So just in case I got some action around the edge, and the very edge, okay? That edge is your 3D or STL file model. It is accurate. So it is the same edge as you'll find on the lower part of the body. So when you put it together, that edge you do not want to touch, okay? Because if I was to cut that edge back, it would then change it dimensionally, and it would not match up with this edge, okay? You guys understand. The two have to mate seamlessly together, and these surfaces are exact dimensionally. They are basically a plane, right on the surface, a surface plane cut across that model. And it says put one part on one side, one part on the other, and split that model. Well, that dimensional line, it's less than millimeters. It's microns. So I only hit it like this a little bit, just on that edge, just because I don't want any little bumps or anything that would cause it not to mate with this surface. Same thing, go around real quick. Okay. Now, once you do that, the next thing is everything inside here we want to clean up. All these little bumps that are going around here. And how we're going to do that, you have two choices. The first choice is to remove this whole piece right here, okay, where I have that X. You see that X? You only have to remove one side. Now, the reason I say that is because when you put these two models together, there may be instances where this piece here is crashing or hitting a surface here. Like this surface right here could be raised, like lifted because of the way it was printed, okay? Dimensionally, it changed a little bit. So it may be lifting this portion of the miniature off, right? Not allowing those seams to mesh. So you can either cut it by using something like this, and you just go in like a router and you cut and you leave about a 1/8 inch to a 1/4 inch all the way around, and you remove this whole piece, okay? And you only have to do it on one side. Or you come in here, use the same thing, a Dremel tool, and you just dimensionally kind of hit that, or you lower it, okay? You're just gonna grind it away. And I'm gonna get right to that edge. I mean, literally 1/16 of an inch, and I'm gonna inset, or I'm gonna carve down so that when I put this back on, the only things that can actually touch are these portions right here. Okay, now, I'm not gonna do that here. So I'm gonna shut the camera off. I'm gonna go away because this is gonna create a lot of dust, and I don't wanna jack up my painting area. As you can see, this is where we also paint, but I got the little cutter back here. Okay, so I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna take this tool. I'm gonna go take this little bit. I'm gonna take this one off, and I'm gonna actually just sand it. I'm not gonna cut it out. Cutting it out it's a lot of work. It's a little bit harder than just kind of grinding and sanding it down. So I'll be back, okay? All right, so I'm back, and I just wanna show you a little bit of what I'm doing already. So I can do a little bit here just to show you. I figured I'd do that for some folks that aren't used to doing this modeling. This has multiple power settings, so watch. Right, so you heard that. So, but we're gonna go, to keep the dust down, we're gonna go just for the first setting. And then, because I wanted to stay away from that edge, all we have to do is come in here like this. Right, and you see the dust that we're creating. But we're gonna stay off of that edge, right? See that dust? That's the reason why I didn't want to do this here. So anyway, you guys see, look. So keeping away from that edge, leave that edge alone, and then take out that area. Just a little bit of grinding. So let's see, I'm just gonna pre-check or pre-fit. Let's see where we're at, if this helped. See that gap? Right there, much better. Even around there, a little better, but we're still gonna take a little bit more off. Then we may hit this here too. I think this might be a problem, this little area. keeping these two seam lines separated. Okay, so but you get the point. Now I'm gonna go do this somewhere else, and then we'll be back. Okay, so I'm back, and now look at this seam. I mean, almost invisible. I mean, we're right there. We can even close that up in the rear end here a little bit just by positioning. There. So almost invisible here, around here, and then again, I'll work with that, right? That's enough right there that we don't have to sculpt or to put in a ton of filler, right? When we start sculpting, when we add the little pimples and the pustules and not like the running kind of, because I don't like the smooth, all his smooth surface. I want more kind of maggoty, rotten skin. Anyway, so we'll get into that when I start sculpting, but right now, compared to what that seam looked like in the beginning, compared to like right there dimensionally, I mean, look at that. I mean, that's almost perfect. Okay, so now time to glue. Enough talking about the seams. Anyway, the only reason I was talking about the seams so much is because people with small printers have to split models, okay? And when you split the model in order to put it on your plate and to get it to print, this is what happens is you create these seams, okay? So I'm just trying to show everybody that you have to get the seam as small as possible first before you start your gluing operation. So there's some prep work to do. So I'm gonna take this model and glue it together, and when I glue it together, I'm gonna have to hold it. So I'm gonna do that again off camera because I gotta position it and be able to turn it before the super glue and stuff starts to kick off. And again, I just gotta get tight. I don't want to do it on camera because doing stuff on camera is a little bit tougher. Okay, so anyway, let me glue this together. We'll come back and we'll get started on carving up the back piece. All right, so pretty simple process. Again, here is the seam line right there. You guys can barely see it coming across. We'll repair that. But I went ahead and I kind of painted this black because I wanted you guys to see the pattern that I'm going to cut, okay? And then I have to cut under this bone here. Obviously I can't go into it, right? So I got to come under that bone, but over these teeth, because I don't want these teeth to be part of like in his back or whatever. So again, I gotta cut this, cut underneath that bone over that tooth, and then that back piece right here, this final hip area, I have to taper it. I have to cut it thin because it has to end right somewhere like on top of the buttocks, or you know, his rear end has to come in somewhere down here. And so that means I have to taper it and I have to fit it into the cheeks and basically bury it. Now what I'm probably end up doing is I'm going to end up cutting on this model down low so that I can tilt this or rotate it so that it starts to bury in this butt skin, right? Or all these flabs, okay? But on the top, I don't really want it to do that. I want it to ride up sort of high, or at least on it, okay? Anyway, that's just in theory. Now, what we're gonna do, hold on, let me go get a saw real quick. So what I mean by a saw is we're gonna go back to the Dremel tool, but as you can see, it's like a little saw blade, okay? So again, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back to the Dremel tool, and then we're just gonna cut, because this is hollow. How do I know it's hollow? Right here, that's a drain hole. So this piece is hollow, and then that's a drain hole. So this piece is about 1/16 of an inch thick, the material. So I gotta cut in 1/16 of an inch all the way down and follow my trace on both sides. And then we're going to separate basically that underneath all that skin, remove it, and then we'll start to pre-fit, okay? Once we pre-fit, then we'll come in and we'll start to sand it and fit it nice, okay? Anyway, this is going to make a lot of dust. Let me go ahead. I'll show you real quick. Again, wear a mask. All right, so you get the point, right? So I'm not gonna finish this here. I mean, it's dust. This is a terrible operation. So we're gonna go outside in the garage, and then I'll be back, okay? And I'll get this piece enough so that we can start pre-fitting. Okay, there we go. So over the years, because of my job, I've been a very lucky individual and have come across all kinds of custom special tools. This is just a unique thing that I've had from 1980s. Again, I'm just being old school, but it's like a box cutter, and I converted it. This is a jigsaw blade, and you end up sticking a jigsaw blade in there, tightening this baby down, and that's what I got in here, and then basically was able to cut it both directions and check that out. So again, any tool that you can make that looks like this, excellent. Most likely you're not going to have a tool like this. I got lucky. But there's the shape. So now the first thing is to do, let's pre-fit it. Let's test it, see how ugly this is. Yeah, so we got a lot of work to do. Just down into that butt cheek, so we're gonna have to mess with that pretty extensively. So obviously the first thing we need to do is take down right here in the middle. So this needs to be relieved quite a bit up here. So we're going to do that with a grinder, like the barrel grinder that you saw earlier. So we got to get rid of all this. Okay, so it took a while to get into this stage. It still does not look good, totally good. So you can see right here around the butt, we do have an area that we can start to blend. That little seam or that gap as it goes down and tags at his rear end here. Once we cut this, and then we can sculpt a butt crack, all right, back into it, okay, basically. So the worst part is still right here. I mean, look at that big old gap. Okay, we got to do something with that. Over here, not so bad. Okay, this we can do some sculpting and correcting, right? That's not too bad. You got about 1/8 of an inch to, maybe, I wouldn't even say it's 3/8, about 1/8. Okay, and then we have the part up front. If you look at that right there, see how it's got that mountain or that hill? Well, what I did is I took and I shaved on purpose, but I left it attached. I didn't split it. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that here in about a minute. I got some hot water or some water in the microwave. Some of you know this, some of you may not. but you can manipulate resin using super hot water. So basically what happens is when you boil water in the microwave, it becomes this what they call superheated, and we're going to drop this piece into that mug or that hot cup of boiling water, and watch what happens. We're going to manipulate this, and basically we're going to make it soft like putty, and I'm going to take up that gap by bending this in place. Now, we had to do some prep work. If you remember, there was a seam, okay, that ran down the middle, right, that we had to get rid of. We had to cut. Pain in the butt, right? Well, I ground it. You guys can probably hear it. The microwave's beeping. The hot water's ready. So there was this seam or this bridge where these two pieces came together. So what we did is we cut that out 100%, and then we re-glued that seam, and now this is ready to be split. With that bridge or that truss, right? Think of an I-beam. With that truss across here, we would have never been able to open this up with hot water or be able to manipulate it. But now it's only a 1/16 inch thick, just like the rest of this material, okay? So enough said. Let me go grab my cup of hot water out of the microwave and I'll come back. Okay, this water is hot. I'm talking hot. Look at the steam. Might jack up the camera, I don't know, but watch. So we're gonna drop this in here. Let that soften up a bit. I can't stick my fingers in there. Let me get like a pair of scissors or something to fish that out with. So we let that soften up. Fingers are burning. That's the price you pay for these miniatures. Okay, now I'm gonna go run to the sink and I'm gonna cool this off with cold water. I'll be back. All right, there you go, look. Now look at that gap. It's gone. So from here, now it's way easier to sculpt and to sand and get this to lay down smooth. But you can see how his back, see how he's got that big old hunchback now? And that's kind of what we want, okay? So from here, I can manipulate this. Now this front is still not on straight, but again, that's just a little bit of manipulation now. We can work with this. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up. It's getting late tonight. That's it. This is all I wanted to do. So I got this in a state of Look at that scene. Good to go. So we're gonna let the model dry, sit here, and then we'll play with it again tomorrow. All right, so now we have reached the stage in which we can take this and we're gonna glue it to the back. So all our work paid off. I've worked on this maybe hour and a half, 2 hours, grinding, cutting, fitting. You guys saw the water where we bent it, got it into shape. So here, this surface here, all the way around, okay, which we would call the bonding surface. This outer ring, basically, where it comes in contact with the body, that's where we're gonna grind, or that's where it's gonna bond. So we ground it down, got it super thin, as you can see. So it coming from the body up into the material, it's very thin here, so it reduces the amount of sculpting we have to do. So once we press it in, center it, just like this, right there, and we apply a little glue, it makes our sculpting much less, okay? So I'm gonna need both hands here to glue it. So let's go. There's plenty of glue. We want to be liberal with the glue because we don't want to do this again. So definitely we don't want this to pop off. So the neck area is very important. We want to get that on center line. See, it's pretty dead on, that right down the middle. So we'll go ahead and we'll go and cut, do some little razor blading and some sculpting in there. But there you go. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do before we start sculpting is we have these pieces right here. So that's just simply gluing these on. So we'll get these on, and then I got two left and a right. And then after that, we'll start working on the sword. Okay, and I'm gonna work on this a little bit longer, but you guys hear the music. So what we're gonna do is we've hit the half-hour mark, and I decided to keep these videos much shorter. The 1 hour or longer format, I just don't think that's good. I don't think people have enough time to just sit and watch a whole 1 hour video. So we're gonna chop these up a little bit. So on our next episode, as I work on this sword here, what we'll do is we'll finish up the left and the right arm. And I have another surprise coming up, so stay tuned. So if you like what I'm doing, please hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, and hit that like button, because likes change the algorithm, and I guess it moves me up in the ladder of YouTube things. So anyway, like we always like to say, fellas, may all your dice rolls come up sixes unless you're looking for that one. Peace out, everyone.